kitchen. So many recipes to share. So many cooks in the kitchen with meals for you to prepare. We've got fruits and grains, veggies and beans, more healthy food than you've ever seen. So many cooks in the kitchen, plant-based meals to prepare. So many cooks in the kitchen with ideas we're happy to share.
Hello, and welcome to our June show of So Many Cooks in the Kitchen. My name is Dilla Barman. I'm in North Carolina. We've been doing these shows for about 3 years. We all are Physicians Committee Food for Life instructors. Food for Life is a nutrition education program of the Physicians Committee. Check out fflclasses.org and see if there's a local instructor or if there's an instructor offering an online class. We offer classes to keep you healthy. And if you're concerned about situations like diabetes or cancer, we have classes focused on those particular situations as well. So today there's about a half dozen of us. We'll be making a variety of dishes, including a pudding, some fruit pops, fruit whip, and I'm going to be making a parfait. June, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, is when it's starting to get pretty warm, and so the idea of cool desserts is pretty appealing. I chose mango. Mango is one of my favorite fruits. My parents are from India, and a lot of people from India just love mangoes. Did you know that there are hundreds of varieties, scores of varieties of mangoes? I have a friend in Florida who grows quite a few varieties that I've never heard of. They've been cultivated for over 4,000 years, and they're lovely fruits. I have two varieties here. This is a Kent, I believe, a Kent mango. And one of my favorite kinds is called, I'm going to check my pronunciation because I sometimes pronounce it incorrectly, Atulfo. I pronounce it Atalufo, and I know that's not correct, but it's Atulfo. Just before the show, I checked the pronunciation. It's Atulfo. It's spelled Ataulfo, I believe. And an easier pronunciation is champagne mango. It's called a champagne mango because it's so flavorful. So we're going to be using that. Mango is a great source of vitamin C. It gives you about 2/3 of your recommended daily intake per day. It's a good source of vitamin B6, 12%, folate, 18%, copper, 20%, and it even has almost 1.5 grams of protein per cup. It's a plant food, so it has many antioxidants. We'll be using a little bit of strawberry, and our show next month is focused on berries, and I am toying with making a really neat marinara sauce with strawberries. So you may see strawberries again in the next show. Strawberries are rich in vitamin C and antioxidants. So let's start off with the strawberries. I'm making something called macerated strawberries, and these are really wonderful. I'm just checking the quantities. This is all in your recipe handout. You want to macerate the strawberries, and what I did is I took strawberries and I chopped them, and then you want to bring out the juices, the sauce, and so traditionally strawberries would be macerated with sugar. Sugar is not something you really want to avoid it as much as possible because of its glycemic index. So there's a product that Brenda Davis, RD, who writes the supplement, the appendix to our monthly show document, turned me on to, and it's monk fruit. Monk fruit is amazing. It has a 0 glycemic index, which means that your blood sugars won't peak when enjoying monk fruit. It comes from something called the swingle fruit from southern China and from Thailand, and is sweeter than sugar and has a 0 glycemic index. So you might be saying, why don't I totally replace all, if you are using sugar, with monk fruit? And it's a good idea, but it's also a good idea not to take too much of the monk fruit. It doesn't sound like there's any downsides, but here's the downside. It is somewhat processed, a little bit processed, not a lot, but it also adds a sweetener. I'll tell you this way, in my family, we don't really use sweeteners very much at all. I use some maple syrup in making lemonade, And when you're not using sweeteners, you get used to the natural flavors of the fruits, the vegetables, and so forth. Now it needs it for the maceration, so I'm putting it in the strawberries. But if you use the monk fruit too much, then your palate will change and you're going to want sweetener more often. And when you're out and about, when monk fruit may not be available, then you may have a craving for sugar. So I like monk fruit. I think it's a good thing to have on hand. Use it occasionally. Don't use it too much because it might give you a hankering for sweets. So what I did is before the show, I went ahead and I chopped the strawberries. And I wanted to show you how to chop a strawberry. You might have a strawberry dehuller, or you can just use a paring knife. So you want to remove not just this green, if you just pull the green portion, then the white portion remains inside the hull. So what you can do, if you're using a knife, you can first remove it, or I just put my knife in and I make a cone. I excise a cone like that. Okay, and off with its head. So there it goes. So that's one way to do it. And by the way, you want to wash the strawberries just before using them so they don't generate mold. The other way is you want to push into the strawberry like this. I'm going to push in and turn. And there it comes off very nicely. Okay, so those are two ways to dehull strawberries. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this recipe is I'm going to chop some mango, which I've already done. I'm going to set the strawberry aside. And here's a trick. Strawberry can stain your cutting board, so I'll sometimes put some paper towels or parchment paper on the cutting board. Okay. So let's cut a mango. I've already cut some mango. There's two ways to cut a mango. Now beware, some mangoes can be spoiled inside. You can't really tell until you cut it open. So while I was preparing, one of the mangoes was spoiled, and let me show it to you actually. So this mango I cut, and if you see there's a lot of brown. If you see a little bit of brown, I'd go with it. It's not a problem. But a lot of brown like this is going to be bitter. It's not going to taste good, and I wouldn't use it. Okay, so avoid mangoes like this. Now what I could do is I could carve out a little bit of the good part, but I'm going to set it aside for now. So lately in North Carolina, we've been getting mangoes, I think from maybe Haiti, maybe Florida. I'm not sure where they've been coming from, but let's look at this one, okay? And a mango is ready when it gives a little bit to the touch, which this is doing. What you want to do is there's a big oblong seed. I want to cut, not in the center, but a little bit off center. I'm going to start cutting until I feel that seed, and then I'm going to try to go right by the seed. And let's see if I have success. So I start off here, pierce the mango, I feel the seed, and I'm going to go right by the seed. Okay. And I did it in two cuts, that's why there's a flap. But this looks really good. Let's do this side. Usually I do a standing up with one cut. So I pierce it, and then I cut straight down until I feel the seed, and try to hug the seed. Okay, so this one was better. And then what I do is I make a tic-tac-toe pattern. Be careful if you're holding it. I'm going to put it on the cutting board. There's benefits to holding it, so you cut right through, but not quite through the skin, but you might hurt yourself. So if you're using a cutting board, try not to cut into the skin. I'm going to make a tic-tac-toe grid cut. By the way, I think I mentioned all of our recipes are available, and please ask questions. While I'm cooking, one of my colleagues can answer, and after I'm done, give me a couple minutes, and then I'll be behind the computer, and I can answer any questions. So what I did is I did this. I did the tic-tac-toe, and I just pushed it inside out. And then what I can do is I can simply use my knife, and I can cut the flesh off. Now, it's okay if you end up with some of the skin if you have organic mangoes. I actually like the flavor of skin. Mango skin. And so if you'd like, and you get tired of doing this, you can, because we're going to be blending this, you can just get some of it with skin on. Okay, so there's the chunks. And then another way to prepare the mango, because we're going to be blending it, so it doesn't have to be, they don't have to be good cubes, I can just scoop it out. And this is how I like to eat mango. I just do this. And let's do that. Let's take the rest of this mango out by scooping. Okay. So you want to use about 4 of these Atalufo mangoes, Tofu mangoes, and you want about 2.5 cups. I developed this recipe just over the last few weeks. I've made things like this, but I wanted to fine tune it for you, and I think I've come up with something that I really like. Okay. So there goes the mango. I'm not going to take the time on camera, but I could remove the skin and, well, why not? Let's include some of the skin in the blending. I'll remove the skin. You know, you can play with it for a few minutes and remove the remaining flesh, but in interest of time, I won't do that here. Okay. Now, if you use one of these mangoes, the Kent mangoes, these are quite good as well. You'd cut it the same way. Okay, so I've been macerating these strawberries, and I should show you one of the strawberries I just cut a minute ago. All you want to do is once you remove the stem, you want to slice it and dice it. You want to have small pieces. Okay, I should have had my paper towel here. And the reason that I did it before the show is because you want the maceration to happen to get it even sweeter. If you don't want to use a sweetener, you could use vinegar. I don't like the flavor of vinegar, and I don't like doing that with strawberries. But you notice, look at this beautiful juice that's coming out. It reminds me, when I was growing up, my mom used to buy these frozen strawberries. I think they still sell them, and they were loaded with sugar, and that's what I was used to. Once I got off that as I grew up, the strawberries themselves taste so good. Why would you want to add sugar? But in this case, we're going to add a little bit of, I add a little bit of monk fruit. All right. So I'm going to now get ready to blend. Let me move the cutting board aside. So I'm going to get my blender. You don't need a fancy blender like this Vitamix. I'm going to put in the blender, I'm going to blend the mango. So here comes the mango. Let's put all the mango in. Mango is so tasty. Mango is, I believe, related to peach. And my wife disagrees with me, but I also love peaches. And I find an outstanding peach, which is very difficult to find, I like even better than an outstanding mango. But an average mango, I like much more than an average peach. Okay. So there's the mango. I'm going to add some tofu. I'm using the shelf-stable tofu, silken, firm, or extra firm. Okay. So I cut it open, and I took about half. Okay. The more you put in, the thicker the parfait will be. So there goes the tofu. Okay. I'm going to add some vanilla right here. Just a little bit of vanilla. I have a measurement for you, but I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to put a little bit of vanilla in. I love vanilla. Okay. And let's see. Now, the mango, I forgot to mention, could be frozen. And if you're using frozen mango, let it defrost if you don't have a high-speed blender. If you do have a high-speed blender, you don't have to wait. But I don't like the texture of the mango if you use frozen mango. I love making an ice cream out of frozen mango with a little bit of milk. But when you make it in this dish, and I've done it this way, it's different. So if you do decide to do it with frozen mango, then make it and let it sit in the refrigerator for a couple hours before you serve it. And then the texture will change just a little bit. So, oh, and one other comment. With the strawberries, when I was macerating it, the recipe calls for lemon or lime juice. But you guys probably know I love citrus, and pixie tangerines are in season right now. So what I did instead is I cut some pixie tangerine and I squeezed some pixie tangerine juice in instead of lemon juice. Okay. I'm also going to be mixing some plant milk, and I'm using this soy milk, which is unsweetened plain. You can use any plant milk. This one in particular only has soy milk, only has water and organic soybeans. This is the milk I use to make yogurt, and I'm going to be using the yogurt in the parfait. So here's a batch of homemade yogurt from a couple days ago, but it can be any plant milk. So I'm going to start off with about a half cup, and then when I blend it, if I say that I want it a little bit more liquidy, I'll just add some more milk. And if it's too liquidy, I'll put some more tofu in. And that's it. So I'm going to move over to the blender, and I'm going to blend this. Actually, it kind of looks like a parfait now. You see pieces of mango and cream, right? A little piece of strawberry got in there. So it's a little bit like a parfait already. So let's blend it. The tofu adds some great nutrition and thickness. Perfect. This looks awesome. One thing I forgot is cinnamon. If I have it handy, I'll add it right now. I like to add cinnamon whenever I'm making desserts. Cinnamon reduces the glycemic index of foods, and I don't have it handy. I just add enough to get the benefits of cinnamon. I don't like the flavor of cinnamon in this dish. Before we move further, I'm just going to sample the mango. It looks really good. Looks outstanding. It's really good. And that's it. So now what I'm going to do is I forgot my Parfait glass, but I do have this glass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of the mango in my glass. And this isn't designed as a Parfait glass, but it'll work. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about 1/3 of the mango that I want to serve for one serving. This makes about 4 servings. Let's put just a little bit more. You can put some granola if you want here. Okay. I'm going to then put the strawberries in. Look at how nice and juicy they've become. Some strawberries. And then if you want, you can add some granola at this point as well. Okay, and then I'm going to put some more of the mango. And then I'm going to add some strawberries again. Easy dessert and really tasty. Loaded with nutrients. Very satisfying for a hot day. And then I'm also going to add some of my vegan yogurt. So you can add as much as you'd like. You can skip the yogurt if you don't want the sour flavor. But to be honest, if I don't put the yogurt, it's not really a parfait. You could also make a coconut cream or a cashew cream. But let's put just a little bit of yogurt. And you can add yogurt to both layers, but I like to put it just in the top layer. Okay. If you'd like, you can also include some cacao nibs. If you use cacao nibs, I put them on the very top. And then let's end with, we can end here, or we can add just a little bit more mango. Okay. And then I can top it with some mint, like that. I want to clean off the top a little bit. Easy peasy, tasty, and a nice summer treat. So there's the mango parfait with some strawberries and some vegan yogurt, and it's a really yummy treat. So try this. I hope that you'll enjoy it. Have a good time experimenting with our recipes. Next, I believe, is Susanna Dickman in Indiana. Susanna, take it away. I can't wait to hear about and see you making fruit juice pops. See you in Q&A.
Thanks, Dilip. That looks so good. I can't wait to try it. Hi, everyone. I'm Susanna Dickman from Evansville, Indiana. You can follow me on Eat Plants Be Well on Facebook and also my webpage, Eat Plants Be Well. Also, my husband and I do twice a month. We do Meatless Monday Evansville, where on Facebook we make delicious plant-based recipes. So join us. Today, I'm going to make one of my favorite summer treats. I grew up in Chicago where it is very hot and humid, and I love to eat popsicles or frozen treats, and I could eat quite a few in my day. But you know, we know that most popsicles are full of sugar and very little juice and very little nutrients. So for years I have been making fruit juice pops, and I love them. My family loves them. They're just easy and so good. And with fruit in abundance this time of year, you can see I have a variety of fruit. You know, you can make them to meet your taste, what you like. I also have a variety of molds. My background's in early childhood, so I like to buy these things, and I'll show you. I made some before, and I have them in the freezer. But you can also just use little paper cups and popsicle sticks. So, you know, you don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't, you know, these things are more environmentally friendly. So the point is putting combinations of fruit, and I use lemon, lime, and I found a ginger and lemon juice to add a little kick to those. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So the first one I'm going to make is just simple watermelon and lime juice. And we were so excited because this was the first watermelon we've bought so far this summer. And it's really, really, really sweet. So I'm really happy about that. Now, watermelon and lime go together just so well. But, you know, you want to decide how limey or watermelon-y you like it. And also, if you find a watermelon that's not too sweet, if you want to, you can add some date sugar, date paste, whole dates I will put in because we're blending it, maple syrup. You know, my family, we find that the fruit is sweet enough. And even if the watermelon isn't that sweet, I like the little kick from the lime, and we'll just go with that. But I put in probably about 2 cups. I did write specific recipes, but again, they're meant to be tailored to your taste. So let's get our watermelon pops blended. That's it. So, you know, very quickly, we're just putting it together. I'm going to put those in this mold that I bought. This is a really great silicone mold, and it doesn't have the tops on it. I'll show you in a minute. Sometimes what I like to do with these, I'll put them in the freezer, and once they get a little bit frozen, so maybe depending on how cold your freezer is, I'll go ahead and take a popsicle stick and put it inside so that it stands up straight in it, because these have this kind of lid. So you put the lid on and then you just kind of peel it back when you want to eat it. Let me go ahead and put this in here. That's a little bit extra. But there's our watermelon one. The next one that I also, again, I made an example of this and I will show you. I like to use fresh fruit or frozen fruit, but I like to use the whole fruit. So I'm just gonna I sliced some strawberries and blueberries, and I have some raspberries. I am just gonna pack this bowl with fruit. I'm gonna do 2 of these and I'll show you examples. But you know, it's so much fun to lick a popsicle and then have some fresh fruit. Then I'm going to use a juice. Here I have an apple juice that is organic and no sugar. It's just juice. And I'm going to fill it almost halfway. Let me add to this one. And I'll show you an example of this one. But here's another one. And I'm going to go ahead and put the tops on. And then those will go in my freezer. And it's so great to go ahead and, you know, when you're licking, the apple juice will melt and then you'll get a whole fruit to kind of get the flavor of. Okay? Next one, a combination that I really like, and let me go ahead, I have another Vitamix container, so I don't have to worry about rinsing that one out, is pineapple and kiwi. This is, again, you can use fresh or frozen fruit. We had bought a pineapple last week and I didn't think we were going to be able to buy another one this week, so I went ahead and froze it, but it was a fresh pineapple. You can also use canned pineapple, you know, it's up to you. And then I've been on a kiwi kick lately. I've just been eating lots of kiwi, and so we're gonna put 2 kiwi in there. And you can add some lemon. Actually, when you add lemon or lime juice, it helps keep it from crystallizing. So it's always good to add a little bit of citrus. And I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon, starting out with a tablespoon, and then I'll blend it and then I'll taste it and see what changes I need to make. But this one, we're gonna get that going. This one is a little thicker, so it's really, really, really good. And I'm going to go ahead and put these in my strawberry molds. Let me pour some of those in. You can see, can you tell? See how thick that is? That's how I love it. Again, I just, let me go ahead and put that down. And these are real cute. I have an example of this one. For you to see. This would be just, if you didn't want to freeze these, you could just eat it like a smoothie. So, I'm dripping a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and get this. You know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to go ahead and just fill this up in my cups and show you how those work. This is, again, this is a great way to make a cold treat on a hot summer's day. And you don't have to worry about getting the added sugar, okay? So I fortunately have one more Vitamix container. Let me wipe up my little mess here. So these, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them in the freezer, check in about, sometimes 20 minutes, it depends how cold your freezer is. These are so thick, they're actually just standing up all by themselves, so I can put that in the freezer, okay? All right, we are going to make one more, and then I'm gonna talk about another one. The next one I'm gonna make, I'm actually gonna use some yogurt. So I bought a vegan soy yogurt that was unsweetened, just a unsweetened vanilla yogurt. You can obviously make your own yogurt in your Instapot, or just if you have a yogurt maker. But I love doing a combination with the yogurt. So here I have a Cara orange. And again, I just, we tend to buy a lot of fruit, so I just find, the fruit that's in season or what I like, and then I go ahead and blend it. Here we have some mango. I love mango. Mango and kiwi have been my go-to fruits so far at the beginning of this summer. Let me get my mango in there. Oops, dropped a piece on the floor. Oh well, I think my dog, we have a little Chihuahua who eats everything, and she will come and eat the mango in just a little bit. All right, I'm not going to put the yogurt in. You could go ahead and blend the yogurt in if you want. What I prefer to do, and I'll show you, is to put, when I get this blended, put a little bit of fruit in it, and then put some yogurt on top, so that when you're eating it, it's you get the fruit and then you get the yogurt. Or you could just blend the yogurt in here if you wanted to. I just love that color. And the one thing about making these, we only use juice and lemon, but we're getting fiber. We're still getting the fiber from the fruit. One thing I'm going to add to this one is some of my ginger lemon juice combination, because I think that would just be so great. So I'm going to add a half a teaspoon. Okay, and let me go ahead and just blend that really quick and put this on. All right. Now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and taste this and see. Oh my goodness, that is so good. You know, the great thing about these is if I run out of containers to put them in, we'll just drink this. You know, after a run or a walk in this heat, it's just like, oh my gosh, I want to drink it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour some in here. And oops, that one I went ahead and poured too much. So I'm going to pour just a little bit. Okay. And then I am going to use the one that I didn't eat with. I'm going to pour some yogurt on top. Oops. I just put some yogurt on top, and then I'm going to top it off with a little bit more fruit. You can put as many layers as you want. I think this next one, I'm going to go ahead and put the yogurt down first, and then I will put some of the fruit on top. Okay? Let me pick that up from there. And then we're going to pour some on top. Or, like I said, you can blend it together if you want. Okay, that one has a lot of yogurt. I'm going to see if I can push it down. All right. These things aren't as big as you think. They're not as deep as you think. But this is great. The mango orange, you know, again, any combination that you want to use. The last one that I ran out of Vitamix containers, so I'm not going to make it. Just going to talk about it because I want to show you the finished product. Cherries and lime juice. So, you know, you can either use lime juice or you can use the fresh lime. So just put in maybe 3 cups of cherries, start with a teaspoon of lime juice, and then go ahead and put it together. So let me go ahead and get mine out of the freezer so I can show you what I have. And I took them out of the molds. So I just want you to see. Look how fun. I mean, you don't need the molds, but with the molds, it is fun. So here's one of my strawberry. And this has just the strawberry. It looks like a strawberry. It almost looks like, I don't know, something else to me. But here is one that I made with the pineapple and mango. So in the cup, so you see how nice those are. These molds, I just found these. And this is a leaf, I hope you can tell, but this is the mold. So I didn't use any of these molds right now because you've got to put them in with the stick down. So you put the liquid in here and then you put the stick down. But I just love the leaf. This one is an owl. And you can see this one is one of my apple juice and fruit. So here's another one of those. You can see if you look on this side, you can see the strawberries on there and then the blueberries and there's a raspberry. These are so good. You can use apple juice, you can use white grape juice. Here's another watermelon and some more fruits. The only one I didn't make to show you is the yogurt. But, you know, it's fun. If you have children who don't like to eat fruit, they will eat a freezer pop, right? And they're just getting fruit. So have fun. Look for some molds. Use the Dixie cups. Just have fun and make your own fruit pop combinations. All right, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy Saturday to watch our show. And next is Angelita. And Angelita, I am so excited to see your recipe. I know it's going to be on my list of what to make next. Take care, everyone. Be safe.
Good afternoon. Hi, this is Angelita Hughes. I am in Greenville, South Carolina. The name of my company is Earth, Seeds, and Water, and I'm so excited to be part of So Many Cooks in the Kitchen. And this session segment is so many desserts. With the hot weather coming up, we all want something that's cool and refreshing. But then again, you can have this year-round as well. So thank you to Susanna for those amazing fruit juice popsicles. Those sound really refreshing. So I can't wait to try those. So thanks again for that recipe. So today I'm going to be making an oatmeal crust tofu U-Cheesecake. The consistency of the cake itself reminds me of a flan or a creme brulee, and in order to keep it whole food, I decided to go with an oatmeal crust. Of course, you can change the crust to whatever you like. So I went ahead and already did that because it does take a few minutes, and I don't want to have to spend 45 minutes on here showing you how to do that. So you've got the recipe, just follow the steps. You can bring the crust up about ½ an inch on the sides, or you can just kind of keep it flat and try to keep the same thickness all the way around, and that'll work as well. If you want to add some pecans or walnuts to it, all you're going to do is add about ¼ cup of those chopped up, and you will be good to go. So this is what it looks like once it's been baking, and this is my springform pan. I've got an 8-inch one. All right, so I'm going to be using 4 bananas, and on the recipe I say not to have brown spots, and by that I mean not to have big brown spots. So it's just a little bit brown like this, it'll be fine. Because what happens if you use the ones that have a lot of brown spots, then it tends to be a little bit overwhelming with the banana flavor. But if you like the banana flavor, then that is not a problem. Just go ahead and use that if you'd like. So we're using 4 of these. They're about medium-sized bananas or 2 very large ones. And we're also going to be using some silken tofu. And I like the shelf-stable one. I've tried the other ones, but this one seems to work a little bit better than the other ones, at least in my opinion. With the banana peels, you don't want to throw these away. You want to soak these with some water, put them like in a container with some water, let them sit overnight, and then use that to water your plants to give it some additional nutrients. All right, so here is the tofu that I like to use. And like I said, it's shelf stable. When you open this, all you're going to do is pour out the excess water. So you just kind of hold your hand over it and then just pour out the excess water. So it won't make it so watery. So we're just going to pour that in there. And this is really good also for any kind of other desserts if you want to make smoothies as well. And I believe we might have a recipe, maybe Carolyn could let you know about that, on how to make a ranch dressing using this. All right, so this goes in there, and I know my blender looks like it's really, really full. So all I'm going to do is just kind of push it down a little bit. Don't worry, we'll have plenty of room in here. Now, the next thing we're going to add to this is, I put ½ cup of maple syrup if you like it really sweet. If you don't like it that sweet, then 1/3 cup of pure maple syrup will go in there. If you use date syrup, it is going to give it a darker color, but if you want to use date syrup, you're more than welcome to use that as well. We're also going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla powder. I didn't use the vanilla extract because I'm trying to limit how much liquid is in there. And this is the vanilla powder that I use. I just ordered that on Amazon. I don't know if you can see it. Wait, sorry. There we go. That's what I use. All right, we're going to add a pinch of salt. If you're not using any salt, you can completely skip this part. That is fine. And then the last thing that we're gonna add is coconut milk powder, not coconut flour. And we're using half a cup. This is what I use, and I get this from Amazon as well. I also use this when I'm making bread and it calls for milk powder. I just use this right here because it doesn't have a coconut flavor. And the reason I'm putting coconut milk powder in there is because it is going to get a little bit liquidy with the bananas being pureed and the tofu. So this will help bind it together. All right, now I'm going to turn on my blender, so excuse the noise. So once it's mixed, you want to use your scraper and scrape down the sides just to make sure everything is nice and mixed. Oh, that smells so good. Now this is just a plain cheesecake, and the reason, or uncheesecake, and the reason I made it this way is, so I guess it's more like just a vanilla flavor. And I did it this way because you can use whatever topping you want on this. Any kind of fresh fruit that you would like to use. If you want to do maple glazed pecans with some fresh strawberries and some toasted coconut, you can add that on top of this as well. And then that way the flavors don't fight each other. But if you want to make like a blueberry or any kind of fruit one, once you mix this up, then you're going to take half a cup to 1 cup, depending on how much fruit you like in there, and you're going to toss that. So you're going to take half a cup to 1 cup of your favorite fruit that you want to use, and you're going to toss that with about a tablespoon of just regular flour, and then you're going to mix it into the cake mixture, and then you pour it in there. And the reason that you're mixing it is that it'll keep the fruit from sinking to the bottom. Let me turn this on again. All right, there we go, and we're done. And I am just going to show you how it pours out. So I did spray the inside of the springform pan with just a tiny bit of oil, of spray oil, not hardly anything in there, just to prevent it from sticking. And then I did use the parchment paper on the bottom, and I ordered these from Amazon as well. They come pre-cut. There's like 3 different sizes, and it has these little tabs that will help you pull this up. All right, and so you're just going to pour it in there. And then you're going to bake it according to the recipe. I've got it at, hold on, 375 for about 25 to 35 minutes. Again, it depends on your oven. I'm doing mine in my air fryer oven, conventional 10-in-1. So it takes about 30 minutes. Now, one thing that, if you don't want it to kind of crack up at the top, because sometimes cakes tend to split just a little bit. If you're worried about that, then what you're going to do is you're going to add a cup. And let me show you what I use. Just one of these little ramekins. And I fill it with boiling water up to the little lip right here. And I put it in the oven when I'm baking the cake. So the steam that's coming up from here while the cake is baking will keep it from cracking. And so that's all there is to it. You want to shake it a little bit, make sure everything's in there nice and neat, and that's what it looks like. So I'm going to bake it, and then I will be uploading some photos of how I've prepared it afterward, because it's going to take a while before it's baked. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for spending your Saturday with us and for supporting us and for being with us. We've been here for a couple years now, if not a little bit longer. And so now we've got Jonna coming up, and she's going to be making a Black Forest Chia Pudding. And I can't wait to see what that's about, because I love chia seed puddings. And so adding a new recipe to it will be even better, because now I have a variety of them for the whole week. So thank you so much again. I wish everybody happiness and great health. And take it away, Jonna.
Hello everybody. Thank you, Angelita, for the wonderful dessert you shared. And merhaba, welcome to my kitchen in Abu Dhabi yet once again. Today we're talking about desserts and who doesn't love them. I chose yet again another very easy dessert to make. This time it comes from Dr. Greger's book, How Not to Die. It's on page 198. You can find it there. I adapted it a little to my liking. And so before we take so much time, I'll go right into it. So this dessert is called Black Forest Chia Pudding, and Black Forest cakes used to be really popular when I was a youngster, and we used to go and buy them, really processed foods, but eat them while in college after like a volleyball practice. We'd be hungry with starving for some calories, and they were perfect, but not so perfect for our health. Anyhow, we have a very healthy version of it now, and as a pudding, which you can enjoy cool out of the fridge. The ingredient, as always, is in our on our website or on Facebook, available as a booklet. But here I go. We have cherries. I used frozen sour cherries, tart cherries. It has chia powder, cocoa powder, some soaked dates, a aged banana, and some water, and that's it. I put the cherries already in my blender cup. I will then, I'll put the water. It's like a half a cup of water. And I put the smushed up banana. I put that one because it sort of holds the powdery things from going into the depths and getting stuck there. So I'll put the cocoa powder. It's pure 100% cocoa powder, full of polyphenols, along with the polyphenols in the cherries. This is a very healthy dessert. The powdered chia seeds work much better. They don't leave any lumps or anything. So I put them there. And some soaked dates. So here they are. Basically, so sweet. They all go, here's my thing. Basically you put all of them in your blender cup and blend until they're really nice and smooth. You might have to sometimes check it. Sorry for the noise, folks. So here it goes. I pulse it a few times. budget. Can it get any easier? So here's the trick. It's just so amazing. The cherries. I use these well-loved jam jars. This recipe, as it is shared, makes 2 big ones like this. Or if you use smaller containers, you can of course make like 4 of them, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute. Okay, here's a tip. When you come to this stage and you can't get any more out, please put some plant-based milk and then give it another good run, and then it makes a lovely drink. So don't waste any of that goodness. So this is done, or I have one already prepared. I made it last night. So you can see how pretty it is in a dainty little container like this. It's also much better serving than, this is like a whole cup of pudding. It could be very filling, and this is like a half a cup. So you can either do 2 big ones, or you can use the same recipe and have for little ones. It's perfect for after dinner. This makes a good snack. I do eat this sometimes in the afternoon after my daily walk, and sometimes I'm famished. So here it is, folks. This was a very easy dessert to make, and I love easy recipes. Full of omega-3s from the chia seeds, full of polyphenols from both the cocoa and the cherries, a lot of vitamins and minerals. This is as healthy as it can get. Good sugar from the dates and fiber as well. Also the chia seeds and everything here gives you a lot of fiber. Good for the belly, for having those short chain fatty acids. And the banana as well. This is as healthy as it can be. It also very good for the chocoholics in the family, such as my husband. He loves this dessert. And he loves the fact that when I make it with the really powdered chia seeds, he loves it. If I make it with chia seeds that are whole, he won't go near this dessert. So if you have such people in your family, you might want to move to very, very finely powdered chia seeds as well. So I'm going to give this a taste test. This has been in the fridge all night. It's I might just have to finish it. It's so delicious. Cool. The cherry and the chocolate, you can just taste both of them. Not one is not overpowering the other. It's really, really lovely. I hope you will make this one of these days at your own home. And maybe I'll see you next month from Italy. I will hopefully be in Italy for the summer. Abu Dhabi gets so hot, I have to escape and go to my home there. Before I say goodbye, I would like to introduce to you my colleague and friend Cody Stubbe in Omaha, Nebraska, and she has something else chocolatey for you. Bye everybody, have a good start to your summer. See you next month.
Hi Jonan, your Black Forest Chia Pudding looks wonderful. I bet my girls would love that. Thanks for that recipe and that wonderful demonstration. Hi everybody, I'm Cody Stubbe and I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. And today I'm going to make a chocolate and peanut butter hummus, and this recipe is from 50 Shades of Yum. So I'm really excited to share this with you. And it's going to be a really delicious dessert, and it's going to be cool because we can put it in the fridge and that's how it keeps. But it won't stay for very long because I'm sure we're going to chow it down. But one thing I love about chickpeas is that they're just very versatile. They kind of take on whatever flavor that you put with them. So today they're gonna go for like a sweet flavor. So I got some maple syrup, I got some cacao powder, I got some chocolate chips, some peanut butter, some plant-based milk. Just use whatever favorite kind that you like. We like soy milk at our house. So first we're gonna start with 1 cup of chickpeas, and they've been rinsed and drained. So I'm gonna put those in my food processor. All right. Then next, I'm gonna do about a 1/2 cup of my soy milk. Then I have about 5 tablespoons of pure maple syrup. You can do less if you like. Next, I'm gonna put in about 2 tablespoons of the cocoa powder. And then we're just gonna mix it up. Oh, that's squeaky. All right, I'm just gonna turn it on here. And you wanna check it to see if you need to kind of scrape down the edges. It's looking good. And turn it back on. Okay. This looks nice and smooth. See that there? All right, I'm gonna put it in the bowl here. Now, if this is too runny for you, you can just not add as much plant-based milk. You may want to start off with just 1/4 cup and then just work your way up to whatever consistency or that you like for this. So, all right. Now we want to swirl some peanut butter in. And now if you were just to take this out of the jar and swirl it up, it might be a little bit hard to do. So I like to heat it up a little bit first. And then you can swirl it in there. It's always a little trick to get out. That's okay. There we go. And then you can just swirl it in there. Yum. Love chocolate and peanut butter together. It's one of my favorite combinations. And then we can sprinkle some chocolate chips on top, just like so. Now you have your chocolate and peanut butter hummus. So it's a wonderful, cool dessert, and I would put this in the fridge until it's time to serve it. So thank you for watching, and now I'm gonna pass.
I'm Nancy Manifold, and I'm going to show you how to make a creamy lemon pudding. So this is, I teach some Food for Life courses, and this is one of the most popular recipes in the course. It's very easy to make, and it tastes fantastic. And the beauty of it is that it's very healthy at the same time. So it's 3 ingredients, and that's all. There's no baking, no nothing. And what we start with is something called silken tofu, which is it's not as firm of a tofu. It's more of a creamy consistency. And I don't know if you can see the packaging, but it's in shelf-stable packaging, so it doesn't even need to be refrigerated. And the beauty about silken tofu is it substitutes for cream quite nicely. It's a very bland flavor. So it doesn't overwhelm a dish, but it gives it a creamy consistency. But instead of cream, which, dairy cream, which is very high in fat and especially saturated fat, silken tofu is very low in fat and very, very low in saturated fat, but it's a fantastic source of protein and calcium, so it's very good for you. So I'm using this as the base for my creamy pudding. And I'll just show you here. I don't know if you can see, but it has, as I think I've said before in previous videos, it has sort of a wobbly, wibbly wobbly kind of consistency. So I'm putting that in. It doesn't need to be drained the way firm tofu does because it doesn't have very much water in it. So I'm putting that in there. And what I have here, what I'm putting it in is the container for a hand blender, stick blender. So it's not a no-tech recipe, but it's a low-tech recipe. And with this, all I am adding is 4 tablespoons of agave syrup, which when you think that this serves at least 4 people is not a great deal of sugar. You need a little bit of sugar for the sweetness for this. So there's the agave sugar going in. And then the last thing I put in, and I've already done it here, I have 1 nice lemon, and I've already zested it just with the grater. Doesn't need anything fancy at all. And I'm putting that in there. So the zest of 1 lemon. And I think the zest is the key to this ingredient, to this recipe, because it gives it such a nice, strong lemon, tangy flavor. And then I am juicing the lemon. So I'm getting everything possible from the lemon. Lemons, of course, are a fantastic source of vitamin C. It's always nice, I always find it nice at the end of the day to have something sweet. And I really like the fact that desserts like this are healthy. So I can have something sweet to finish off the day without feeling that I have, you know, eaten something unhealthy at the end of the day. There we go. So that's the juice of the lemon. And I am pouring that in. It's a reasonable sized lemon. I'd say it's a medium sized lemon. So that's all I have in here is silken tofu, the zest and juice of a lemon, and a little bit of agave syrup. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take, I hope it comes this far, things that I didn't check beforehand. I'm just unwinding the cord, there we go. And this is a stick blender, and you just blend it like that. Do a little bit more. It takes a couple of minutes. I won't do it for that long. So I'm not going to do it very long because you don't want to watch me just blending that for too long. But you can already see, so what I would do is I would blend this probably for a couple of minutes just to get it really nice and creamy and smooth. But what you can already see is that even with that little bit of blending, it's already forming a nice, thick, creamy pudding consistency. And that is the beauty of silken tofu. So what I've done is I've made some in advance, and I have put it into, you know, some of the pudding into a little dessert cup. And as I tip it, you can see that it's firmed up. It doesn't go very, very firm, but it firms up a little bit into a nice pudding consistency. And what I'm going to, so that on its own tastes fantastic. As I say, it's one of the most popular recipes in my class. So on its own, makes a fantastic pudding. But what I'm going to do today, just to show you, because I've done this for friends for dinner before, and non-vegan friends, and they loved it, is to make a raspberry chia seed jam to put on top. So there's the jam. You can see the nice jam-like consistency. All right. And I'm going to show you how I make that. So what I have in here, this is just a plastic storage container. It's nothing fancy at all. So I've put 100 grams of frozen berries, and I've chosen raspberries this time. And to that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of chia seeds. And what the chia seeds do, it takes about a day or so, but after a day, what the chia seeds do when they combine with the moisture, with the liquid in the raspberries, is they swell up and thicken. And chia seeds are also very healthy. They're a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. They're a good source of calcium, iron and protein. And I have added those to the raspberries. And then the last thing I'm going to do is to put in 4 teaspoons of orange juice for a bit of liquid and a little bit of sweetener. So there's 1 teaspoon, and the other 3 teaspoons I'm going to do as a tablespoon. So there's that. So all you, again, 3 ingredients for this, that's it. And so what I do is I mix it together. Just give it a brief little mix. And what I will do is put the lid on that and leave it in the fridge for a few hours and then mix it again, because the chia seeds at the beginning sort of sink to the bottom. And I mix it again and put it back in the fridge. And by the next day, as I say, the chia seeds have thickened up and swelled up and thickened up and created a fantastic, very healthy jam, which you can put on toast, you can put on, mix it in yogurt, do whatever you like. So the difference between this and store-bought jam is store-bought jam uses sugar, uses some pectin, but it uses a lot of sugar to thicken up the berries. Whereas with this, the only sugar is the natural sugar in the raspberries with a little bit of added orange juice. And the thickening happens with the chia seeds. And again, this is also one of the most popular recipes that we make in my Food for Life classes. So what I am doing is I have my lemon pudding here, and I'm taking a little bit of my raspberry chia seed jam, putting a dollop of that on top. And then the last thing I'm going to do, because it's nice to have a little bit of crunch in it, I have chopped up some almonds. Now they're just raw, unroasted almonds with the skin on, because I think the skin adds a nice color as well. And I just sprinkle those on. And you can toast your almonds. I don't tend to for this, because the flavors of the lemon creamy pudding and the raspberry jam are so mild and natural. I find the toasted part of the almond, aspect of the almond, makes it a bit too strong. So I just like the almonds as they are, but obviously do as you like, whatever flavors you prefer. And there we have my lemon, the creamy lemon pudding with raspberry chia jam. And you can see the nice consistency there of the pudding. It holds its shape and it tastes so good. So thank you very much for listening to me and watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it.
Am I on? Sorry, Nancy, we're having technical difficulties. That looks really good, and I can't wait to try it. I'm Karen Osborne, myfoodfitnessandfun.com. Welcome to my kitchen here in Austin, Texas. And I'm going to make a really simple, another cherry dessert. It's a nice summer fruit, and cherries are usually, they come in like they're starting to be available in the stores in May, and then they get more available and more affordable in June, but July is really peak season. But you can get frozen cherries year round. And I've gotten some different, all organic bags of frozen cherries, and some have been better than others. Some of them tasted like water, but the ones I'm using today are really, really good. They're the Woodstock organic frozen cherries. And cherries have a lot of fiber, keep your digestive system healthy, and feed the good gut bacteria. They have a lot of antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. So yeah, they're high in vitamin C. It's good for your immune system and good for your skin. And it's just this dessert, I'll tell you, I'm making it into a parfait, but you can also freeze it into the popsicle molds like we're giving away. And you can put it in any mold you have for whatever ice cream maker you have, or freeze it in ice cube trays and then just put it in the blender and make some ice cream that way. But yeah, let's just get started, and I'll talk about the ingredients as we go. The first thing I'm going to do, I've been warming up this burner here. So real quick, I'm going to put a 1/4 cup of water in this little pan at room temperature. And then I have agar powder, which is just it's a gel-like substance from, let me put this down, from algae, like from red algae. So you get the minerals from that and the fiber. It's like a plant-based alternative to gelatin. And I'm going to take just a 1/4 teaspoon of that. And it depends on what you want to do with it, how much you want to use. So if you wanted something to gel like really hard, you would use more. But this is just going to kind of thicken my concoction. So I'm going to dissolve it in the water at room temperature. And then I'm going to put it on this burner and just stir it for a minute or two. And while I do that, because once you take it off of the burner, so at room temperature, you dissolve it in there and then it heats up. As it cools, it thickens. So, and there's not much in here, so it's going to thicken pretty fast. It's going to cool fast. So while this is happening, you want it to cool a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and put the other things in the blender. So I have my cup of cherries, and you could use fresh cherries if you can get them. Just got frozen cherries. Here we go. And then I have a cup of plant-based yogurt. I use the soy yogurt that I make, but you sure could purchase it's just a plain, unsweetened, plant-based yogurt. And I'm just going to pour it in. So I should be stirring that stuff right now. So I'll keep stirring it. So then the other things that I'm going to put in there are a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Cherries and vanilla are really yummy. And then I'm also going to put in a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. So I don't want this to taste like almond extract, but the beauty of making your own food is you can put as much or as little as you like. If you want that strong amaretto flavor, put a lot more in. I'm just using it to bring out the flavor of the cherries. I'm going to turn this off because it's probably been a minute. And just remove it from the heat and let it cool a little bit. I just need to add my almond extract. And then the last thing is I have date sugar. You can use whatever sweetener you choose. This is just dried ground dates. So just put in there. So I'm using a 1/4 cup. If you want it sweeter, you can use more. I don't find you need more if you're going to have it refrigerated or at room temperature. If you're going to freeze it, you might want it a little bit sweeter because your taste buds don't really detect sweetness as well when it's so cold and frozen. So I'm going to mute myself and just blend this smooth real quick. And get it all out of the lid and press it down off of the sides back into the mixture. And it's a nice, thick, creamy consistency. But now I'm going to add my agar mixture, my thickener. So we're just going to pour it in while it's liquid. If you wait until it gets too cool and hardens, it's not going to have the same effect. So it's going to get all incorporated into this mixture. I'm going to mute myself and blend one more time. All right. So now as this cools, it will thicken up. I have one I already made, which I'm going to show you. And I did put one in the ice cream maker too. Right. So I'm just going to pour it into my dessert dish. You could use a ramekin. And this, I'm going to refrigerate for a couple of hours at least. And the thing about the agar is it has a higher melting point than gelatin. So you know how you make Jell-O and put it in the refrigerator, if you leave it out, it will kind of melt. It won't happen to this, but I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator in a minute. So find the one I've already made. All right, so this is the one I've already made. You can see how it's kind of gelled, but it's a creamy gelatin. And then I like to put something. Let's see. I made some granola. You could buy granola or put some nuts or seeds or coconut, whatever you like on it. This is just rolled oats, and then I put some date syrup. You can make a date paste or buy a date syrup. Just mix it together in a bowl and let it sit for a little while so the oats can absorb the sweetener. And then you just put it on like a thin layer on a parchment sheet, a sheet of parchment paper on a cookie sheet. You can put as much as or as little as you want. And then I like something green and everything. So I'm just going to put a little piece of mint. And I guess you can see that. But I also am going to pour it into my ice cream maker and freeze that. But I also made one of those. Let me get it out of the freezer. So I don't know if you can see how frozen that is, but it's like ice cream. Put it in a bowl. And I think I would like some granola on my ice cream. You put extra cherries in. A little piece of mint on it. And how easy is that? It's easy, it's delicious. So I am going to pass you over to Carolyn May Strickland in Montgomery, Alabama for another cool dessert fruit whip.
That looks great, Karen. Thanks. I can't wait to try it. Bye. Good to see you. And I'm Carolyn in Montgomery, Alabama, and I'm making a pineapple whip. And if you've ever been to Disney World or Disneyland, There is a pineapple whip there that is called a Dole Whip. And so this is going to be very much like that. When you go to Disney, actually, the Dole Whip is vegan. So it's one of those safe treats that you can get as a vegan at Disney. And it comes in different flavors there. There's usually what people get is the pineapple, just regular pineapple whip. There's also a lime one that we got when we were down there I think it was in March, we got the lime whip. It was amazing. They have a strawberry one, a mango one. So there's lots of ways to play with this. I'm going to make the original pineapple one, but we'll talk about how you can change it up a little bit too. So this is a really easy recipe. It's just 2 cups of frozen pineapple, and it's been sitting out for maybe 5 minutes while Karen was talking. So I just did a little bit of defrosting, but not much. So it's really pretty hard. But 2 whole cups. And then 1/3 of a cup of light coconut milk out of a can. So not the kind in the refrigerated section, because you want it to be a little bit thicker. But if you are allergic to coconut or you really don't like coconut, you could use any non-dairy milk. I would probably recommend soy milk because it's a little bit thicker and you want this to be creamy. So this is just so good. I've already been practicing it and we've been eating a lot of Dole Whip, but it's really, really good. All right. And then just a teaspoon of fresh squeezed lime juice, just gives it a little bit of a zing. And then this is an optional ingredient, but I kind of recommend it based on how tart or sweet your pineapple is. This was frozen pineapple, but I tasted a piece and it's pretty tart. So you want to use a granulated sugar substitute. I probably wouldn't just use straight refined sugar, but what I'm using is date sugar. And I found this at a local grocery store. It's organic, non-GMO, kosher, gluten-free, but it's just made of dates. And I like it because it's lighter in color than using maybe a brown coconut sugar. So it won't turn colors as much if you're trying to keep this a nice bright yellow like pineapple, it's not going to change the color too much. So you could also use just organic sugar if you want to. You can leave it out if you think your pineapple is perfectly sweet. And then if you want to, another optional ingredient, if you want it really creamy and you want to completely leave out the coconut milk, you could use a frozen banana instead, but you're going to need a little bit of liquid to kind of loosen it up to really get it to blend. So okay, so we're going to blend this up. That's not many ingredients, just pineapple, coconut milk, a little lime juice, and some date sugar. All right, and you do need the tamper. So sometimes I don't use the tamper when I'm using my blender, but this time you really do because you have to press it down a lot. All right, it's going to be loud. And you want it to be really thick and creamy too. So this is very, very thick, which is good. Kind of has an ice cream consistency right now. And you probably do need to stop and scrape it down a few times because you want to get all of the little bits of everything that flew up on the sides down into the mix. But it's almost there. It looks really good, actually. So I'm going to do that one more time, really briefly. Okay, wow, that's really thick, which is perfect. So you could just go ahead and scoop it into a dish and eat it. That would be fine. If you want to make it really fancy, you could scoop it into, this is a pastry bag used for piping frosting. And I have a really big tip on the end. So, and I happen to have this cute little cup that we got at Disney World when we got our I guess we got a lime flavored one in here. It was for the Garden Graze Festival that happened to be going on while we were there. So we'll scoop it in and make it really festive looking. All right, so I'm going to have to scoop it into this. See if I can do this. I'll use a big spoon. Okay. So if you scoop it into one of these bags, then you can pipe it out into a container and give it that swirly look that it gets when you're at Disney World, which is kind of fun. All right, there we go. Let's see if I can get all of that in there. And then roll the top up and squish it all down. And then pipe it right into your bag. Oh my goodness, look at that. I'll move that out of the way so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. And then when it comes out, it's got that really cool swirly look like it does when you get it at Disney World. Uh-oh. If it has a piece of it stuck in the tip there. Oh, there's a piece of pineapple that didn't quite get whirled up. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Whoa. There's another piece of pineapple stuck. Okay. Probably I would have whirled this up just a little bit longer, but okay. Anyway, it has a neat swirly look to it. So kind of like when you get it at Disney World. And then you could add some fun toppings to it, like fresh chopped banana or mango, lychee fruit. I happen to have some little pieces of orange, some tangerine sitting around, so we'll just use that. You could add some chopped coconut to the top, maybe a little bit of almond whip or cocoa whip, and then pretend you're at Disney World, close your eyes and and have a taste. Oh, it's fabulous. That is so good. Okay, now I want to go back to Disney World. But so you could also do this with strawberry, frozen strawberry or frozen mango. That would be really good too. You can make it more of a lime flavor by adding some frozen pieces of lime into the mix as you're doing it. So you really just need 2 cups of frozen fruit, but I would recommend the pineapple or maybe mixing it half and half with pineapple and mango. You could add banana to make it a little more creamy. But really, if you want the flavor of what you get when you go to Disney World, it's the pineapple. So give it a try. And during our Q&A, I think I'm last today, so we have Q&A next. And during our Q&A, ask a question in the comments and you will be entered in a drawing. And today we're giving away a silicone popsicle mold and a subscription to Veg News Magazine. So I think it's the same kind of popsicle mold I have. And I love making popsicles. This would be great thrown into a popsicle mold too. And you could make a Dole Whip or a pineapple whip popsicle. That would be really good. But do ask a question during the Q&A so you can be entered in the drawing. And I'm going to send you back over to Dilip so we can start our Q&A.
That was great, Carolyn. And let me bring Karen on too. All right. Turn off the background. So I think today it's 3 of us for Q&A, and what a nice show. Just watching the show, I'm actually sipping some warm tea at the moment, but watching the show, it felt so cooling and refreshing for the summer. Summer is almost here. It's the 3rd, and isn't summer June 21st or June 20th or 22nd? It's usually around the 21st.
I'm in Alabama. It's already summer here, Bill.
I'm in well, we're all in the South, so Karen's in Texas, right? So it's pretty warm.
Right.
We've been having a really cool spring. I mean, we've not had heat or air conditioner on for like a month. It's very unusual. It's usually been pretty hot.
Wow.
So great show, and go ahead and folks, we've had lots of good questions. So from this point on, new questions qualify for our prizes, and we're giving away you want to tell us more about the giveaways, Karen? Karen's the one who is in charge of the giveaways.
We're going to be doing a year-long subscription to Veg News Magazine and a popsicle mold. It's a silicone mold but it's sturdy enough that it's not going to like flop over in your freezer. It's going to hold those popsicles where they go. Each popsicle has a holder. It's not just a stick. It has a base so that it's not going to drip down your arm. And you can make like almost any of these recipes in there.
Although I love seeing Susanna's molds. Did you see hers? They were so beautiful.
Yeah.
But these will be great too. Okay, here's some questions. So good to see you lately. Hi, Lee. How long would the mango parfait keep in the fridge? Could you make it a day ahead? Absolutely. So I love this mango parfait. And I experimented with starting with frozen mango, and the texture didn't come out quite right. So if you start with a frozen mango, it actually tastes better if you let it sit at least a few hours, if not a day or two in the refrigerator. What I would recommend, Lee, if you have time, is make the mango. You blend the mango with the tofu and the vanilla, so forth, and then keep it in a covered bowl in your refrigerator, and macerate the strawberries, and then assemble it just in time. And if you're having a dinner party and you just don't have the time, you can go ahead and just make the whole parfait, stick it in the refrigerator, cover it, and just pull it out when you're ready. It'll be better if you assemble it, because then the ingredients will still be a little bit separate. If you refrigerate it, they'll start kind of blending together, but it'll taste pretty much the same. So yeah, this keeps great for a couple days. So thanks for asking. And Karen, you're going to maintain a list of all the people asking. Yeah. And I see Bonnie's asking those cute molds. I think you're talking about Susanna's, and I knew Susanna couldn't stick around, so I asked her, and she said she bought hers at Aldi's. Aldi's is not a store I shop at. I know we have some Aldi's, and I think that they have a lot of organic produce, and they try to keep the price low. So she bought hers at Aldi's, and they did look really, really sweet. Okay, and then Bonnie had a couple questions. Could you comment on using ground flaxseed and ground chia seeds versus the whole? Besides texture, is it better for digestion to ground them? Yes, or beneficial, but do it just in time if possible, or keep it in the refrigerator. Is it okay to use them whole? I use the whole flax seeds for omega-3 instead of grounding. Is this harmful? So, Carolyn, can you talk a little bit about chia seeds, and maybe Karen can talk a
Sure.
little bit about
Okay.
flax seeds?
Well, chia seeds are really, really good for you. So, but it turns out they're actually even better for you if you grind them up. So we're not going to get quite as much of the nutritional benefit out of them if we leave them whole, although they do plump up. And when they're plump, you might be able to grind it up a little better with your teeth. But it turns out grinding it, you're probably going to be getting a little more nutritional benefit out of it. But chia seeds have lots of minerals in them, like magnesium, potassium, zinc. They're really, really good for you, full of fiber. Just a powerhouse of nutrition, really, and omega-3 fatty acids, which, you don't have to have fish to get omega-3 fatty acids. You can get lots of omega-3s from chia seeds and flax seeds, which also need to be ground up to be able to get the nutritional benefit out of them. But they're great for using for
thickening. Could I quickly interrupt you for a second? When you were talking about you don't have to get it from fish. In fact, you shouldn't get it from fish for lots of reasons, because if you want the omega-3s, why don't you get it from where the fish gets it from the plants?
Exactly, from the plants in the ocean. Exactly. And so chia seeds are full of omega-3 fatty acids, and also great for thickening. Like I make a strawberry jam. Recently started making strawberry balsamic jam, and I noticed as I was cooking it, it wasn't getting as thick as I wanted it to. So I put ground chia seeds in it before I put it in the refrigerator. And the next day it was really thick because the chia seeds soaked up a lot of that liquid, and they were ground up. So I wasn't getting a lot of seeds in the jam. I was just getting a really nice thick jam. So yeah, chia seeds are great for a lot of things, but thickening things, but also, you're going to get a lot of nutrition out of them. Probably more if they're ground up than if they're whole. And that's kind of a recent thing that I know Dr. Greger has been talking about on nutritionfacts.org, is that we really should be grinding our chia seeds. We've known for years we should be grinding flax seeds, but I didn't realize chia seeds should be ground up too. But turns out they're a little better for you. So they don't look as cool in a pudding if they're ground up, but still it's going to make it thicker.
Before we go to Karen, could you also address Susan Patton's question? Karen, please note Susan's name. Do you grind your own or do you purchase them? And actually, I'll answer that. You should definitely grind your own.
Okay. Well,
coffee grinders are so cheap.
Right.
Yeah, I recommend grinding your own. If you buy it pre-ground, it's more volatile, and I wonder about the shipping to make sure it is kept cool. So I prefer grinding my own, and I keep it in the refrigerator. I don't know if either of you can comment.
I keep mine in the freezer.
Freezer, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
do. I keep it in the freezer because of the fact that there are no preservatives in them. They will go bad. And you know when they've gone bad if you smell it and it smells rancid. I mean, it does have some oils, some naturally
Oils.
occurring oils, and it will go bad. And so flax seeds are the same way. And then also when they start getting really old, they also don't work as well to thicken things. I've noticed they just kind of lose some of that ability to thicken whatever it is you're trying to thicken up. It doesn't work as well. So keeping them in the freezer is probably the way to go.
I guess when you buy them online or in a store, they probably are vacuum packed and they're probably pretty well preserved. Once you open it, you'll then want to freeze or refrigerate it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Karen, can you talk about flax seeds? Thanks, Susan.
Pretty much everything Carolyn said. They are their best source of omega-3 fatty acids. And yes, if you grind them, use them, like put them in your liquid or whatever before the fat's oxidized, that's best. So I don't purchase pre-ground.
Are they better sources of omega-3s than walnuts?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that, because walnuts are an excellent source of omega-3s as well.
They are, but they also, so you want a good ratio of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids.
Right.
And walnuts have more omega-6 than the flax seeds.
Right.
Okay, so folks, bring your questions on. I have a bunch of questions, so until more audience questions come in. Here's a question for Carolyn, and that's this date sweetener. So when I sweeten, I like to use monk fruit, or if I do use date, I like to use the whole date and I blend it. So what is the benefit of using, say, the date sugar you had instead of, just blending a date?
Well, I think you could put a whole date in it, but it'll change the color. So I guess if you want it to look like I was saying when I made it, if you want it to stay that bright color, like pineapple colored, then adding dark dates to it will change the color. And granulated sugar was what I was trying to replace in some of the other Dole Whip recipes I found online, which called for like white sugar. And I know you don't want to add like a liquid sugar like maple syrup or date syrup because you don't want it to be liquidy, because you want to make it like like an ice cream kind of. It sort of comes out like an ice cream. And so to keep it nice and thick, that's why the sweetener I chose wasn't a liquid sweetener. So it seemed like date sugar was a really good option. Also because it's lower in the glycemic index, so it's not going to spike your blood sugar as much. Although pineapple will spike your blood sugar too. It's a natural source of fruit sugars. But, it's better than the regular processed sugars, white sugars that we find. Definitely lower on the glycemic index. And this one is organic and GMO free and gluten free and all that stuff. So it's, it seemed like a better option than other granulated sugars. Although I guess you could try monk fruit. That would be interesting, because it's kind of a granulated sugar.
And no
glycemic
I
think you could
index.
try monk fruit.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So you could try monk fruit. Yeah,
monk fruit is actually sweeter
than
regular sugar. Monk fruit is
yeah.
really
So
sweet.
you could try monk fruit. I think, isn't it erythritol that they're finding is a bad idea? So we need to stay away from erythritol.
Is mixed with erythritol. But you can get pure monk fruit. It's very, very sweet. It's like so sweet, like stevia is so sweet. You just, use a little tiny.
Right.
And I talked about that in my segment. The only downside I could think about, and I thank Brenda Davis for really turning me on to monk fruit. The only downside I can think of is that if you're, like, for example, when I macerate strawberries, you can macerate with vinegar. I just don't like the flavor of vinegar. So you need some sweetener, and I like using monk fruit. The only disadvantage of it is if you start developing that sweet tooth, and again, monk fruit's a good choice, but when you're out and about, they may not have monk fruit. Now, if your palate has changed that you want that sweetness, that's the only disadvantage I can think of monk fruit. So I use monk fruit, but even that as a sweetener, I don't use it a lot. I use it once in a while. I don't, use it regularly. It's wonderful for my parfait. It's just a teaspoon of it for a bunch of strawberries. So I'm very happy doing it, but I wouldn't use it all the time. So here's a question from Carolyn's mom, Mrs. May. Nice to see you, Mrs. May.
Hey, Mom.
Where do you find monk fruit? So in terms of the bag, I'm going to ask Carolyn to deliver a bag to you. Would you do that, Carolyn? Get her a bag of monk fruit?
If I can find some. It's hard to find around here.
Is it? So we have it at our co-op. I bought it at Whole Foods Market. It's available on Amazon, so it should be pretty easy. So I think your
Yeah, we
lovely
don't
daughter
have a Whole Foods anymore. Our Whole Foods
right, I know.
closed more than a year ago now. So,
Right. Good to see you,
oh
Mrs.
well.
May. We'll try to see if Carolyn can get you some monk fruit.
Okay.
Susan Patton had a question. I noticed some of you use granola. Do you have a recipe? Yeah, we do. So we made, was it you, Carolyn, who made granola? Do you remember which show it was? And we're working on a search function so you would be able to search on it. But for now, which show was it? And somebody can go to somanycooks.com/shows and go to the show you're going to tell us and look at the recipes.
I feel like it was January or February of 2021. It was cold. I know that it was cold out. Yeah, I have my recipe right here. It's a lower fat granola. So
Can you
yeah.
can you take like 30 seconds to give a summary of how you make it roughly?
It is whole rolled oats and then tossed with lots of nuts. And I think I used peanut butter or almond butter mixed with maple syrup or date syrup because you need something liquidy that is also going to harden up as it cools. Trying to remember some vanilla, lots of cinnamon, and you bake it in the oven for probably about an hour. Like every 20 minutes, you'll stir it. And then when it comes out and cools, you add a bunch of dried fruit to it. And lately, and I do love that granola, I make it a lot, but lately I've been making muesli too. So I may do that on the next show, actually. So since we're talking about berries, but I was going to make a berry parfait. I may layer it with muesli. So we'll see. I've been making muesli lately. That's my new thing, so I don't have to turn the oven on as long.
You know what's interesting, Mrs. May, is Carolyn and I were talking a week or so ago, and we're roughly the same age, and it seems like we were brought up with the same kinds of foods. We were talking about, cottage cheese, and Miyoko's is supposed to be coming out with a vegan cottage cheese soon, and she ate the same kind of cottage cheese my mom would feed me, with chunks of pineapple or sometimes with
canned pears.
Canned peaches, yeah, sometimes like that.
Canned
So
peaches and canned pears.
I told your daughter that maybe we're secretly brother and sister and just didn't see each other because we ate very similar foods. Okay, here's a question from Bonnie. So Bonnie, are desserts rare in your household, or do you eat them a lot? I'm trying to maintain my weight, but many times feel like I want something sweet after a meal. So for all of us, so let's all take it. I'll start. So I like making ice cream. I don't do it all the time, and what I do is I blend some frozen fruit and I put a little bit of soy milk or almond milk or something, and if I want, I'll put a little bit of creamer, vegan creamer, which does have some sweetener. But I basically end up with a no added fat ice cream, which is very satisfying. I love my ice cream. My family loves it so much they actually like it better than when we go out. There's a ice cream parlor downtown, and about a third of the flavors are vegan. I actually like the ice cream parlor's ice cream better than mine, but they like mine better. One of my bad habits is I have a hankering for chocolate, and I probably should eat less than I do, but often after dinner I'll have a small piece of chocolate. So if you're trying to lose weight, you want to minimize the chocolate. You can have cacao, which I also enjoy. Fruits are great. They're sweet, and they will help satisfy your dessert calls. So how about Karen and Carolyn after that? Do you want to comment?
I don't make desserts for myself a lot. I will make some ice cream, banana ice cream, or like the different flavors I've experimented with in that Ninja Creamy. So I'll have that usually. But like I like the tropical fruit. I love durian. I love jackfruit. I love the triple crust tangerines, and I love those. Now I can't think of the name of them, the bumpy ones.
Are you talking about
greens that are so sweet? They're like candy.
Are you talking about the relative of lychee?
Oh no, they're tangerines.
Oh, pixies.
Gold nugget. Sorry.
Gold nuggets. Pixies are even better, but yeah, gold nuggets are good.
And I mean, there's some sweet. Oh, I love the different sapotes. If you have an Asian market, the yellow dragon fruit.
Mangoes.
Yes. Yeah. Just because you can just go grab it and it's dessert.
Right.
Carolyn, did you want to add to that?
I agree with all of that. Fruit is always a great after dinner treat. But one of the things we like to do to make it kind of fast and easy is dates. So
dates.
One date has 50 calories or less. And what we'll do is open it up, take the pit out like this, and then it's open. You could cut it in half or just open it up and take the pit out, and then put a spoonful of peanut butter, like a teaspoon of peanut butter or almond butter in it, and then sprinkle it with some toasted coconut and maybe some of those little mini Enjoy Life chocolate chips on the top, and pop it in your mouth, and it tastes like a candy bar, but you're not getting anywhere near the calories, no cholesterol, hardly any saturated fat. I mean, it's so much better for you than eating a piece of candy, but it tastes like candy, but it's totally all natural. It's a date. So it's one of our favorites. And as Dilip knows, Bari dates would be probably our favorite because they taste like caramel and, they're just fabulous. But this is a medjool that works too. But Bari dates are really, really good. And sometimes just my husband and I will sit down and just pop a date or two after dinner, and that's our dessert because it tastes like candy. It's just fabulous.
Karen, could you talk a little bit about polyphenols? Because Nancy I think it was Nancy who was talking about polyphenols. Can you talk a little bit about polyphenols? We haven't really talked about them in the show. And one other comment is in terms of desserts, we've had a couple dessert shows. So take a look at somanycooks.com/shows. We've had so many desserts. We've had so many holiday treats and several other dessert shows. So you'll find probably a couple dozen recipes that we've put together. But Karen, can you tell us more about polyphenols?
Yeah, is this some name I should write down? Or
no, this is something that no, because I can't remember who asked it, or maybe nobody asked it, but I was thinking it'd be worth discussing. I don't think anybody actually asked about that.
Okay, sure. It's just like a molecule of. It's only in plants, and they protect against disease. They boost digestion. It's like I don't know what to call it. It's like they can protect from cardiovascular disease and cancer, but they're antioxidants, which neutralize free radicals, which can cause cell damage, and then just reduce inflammation.
Yep.
It's like
the food's highest. You know what? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead. Tell the types. 4 types.
I was just going to say, coincidentally, the food's highest in polyphenols are berries, and so that's our next show in July. We're talking about berries, and so berries are highest in polyphenols, which are fabulous, powerful antioxidants. So.
Now, another question came up, and I just got a text message from Cody because it was for her, and it was I can't remember who asked it, but what would go well with her dip? And I had suggested pretzels and apple pieces, and she said the same thing. She said pretzel, crackers, fruits, like apples, but she also mentioned banana slices. So those all go well with a chocolate hummus. Is the answer to that.
Graham crackers.
Yeah. Graham crackers are not always vegan, though. You have to look for ones.
Exactly.
Right. Let's see. There was a question for you, Carolyn, when you piped, and Cody is famous for her piping. She makes really good manicotti with piping. It's something I have done, but not very often. Can you talk more about piping, and can you just get a plastic bag and cut a piece out of the bottom, or
you
how?
Could.
How?
You could. Yeah, you could. So this happens to be a bag that's used for frosting or candy making. It's from Wilton, and I have a little silver tip in the bottom of it. So I have a whole bunch of different shapes of little silver tips. So my mom, unknown to most people, is a professional cake decorator. She was a fabulous cake decorator. I remember when I was little, she would decorate cakes all the time, and they were just amazing. And so I'm not as good as she is at it, but this is a little metal tip that has little serrated edge to it. So it's going to give things that swirly look. And then, but you could just put it in a Ziploc bag, cut one little tip off, and squirt things out that way. Piping is a really cool idea for lots of things. Like if you're trying to drizzle a sauce over something, putting it in a small piping bag or a Ziploc bag that you cut a very small tip off one corner off and squirt it out, that can help you have a little more control instead of just glopping sauce on with a spoon. So if you notice when you go to a restaurant and they have like swirly sauces. If you've ever been to a fancy restaurant and there's a swirl of sauce on the side, they don't do that with a spoon. So they do that with either a piping bag or a squirt bottle that they put the sauce in, to be able to control more of where you're putting a decorative touch on something.
I know I get a hot sauce I really like. It's called Yellowbird hot sauce. And I love it because it comes in a bottle and you can make designs. Of course, with hot sauce, you usually put very little of it on. Um,
Right.
okay. Could you, Karen, talk a little bit more about almond extract? Because I think I have some almond extract and I haven't really used it, but that was kind of neat. So you can put as little as you want, of course, and just to get. So if you're not looking for the almond flavor, what would just a little bit of it do for you?
It's just kind of, well, with
A
cherries,
hint.
especially, it just boosts that cherry flavor. Like, it's,
Mhm.
you get more of a sense that you're eating cherry. Like, some things, like sometimes when I make fruit ice cream or smoothies or whatever, if and there's an orange, the mango tangerine is like that. It's from the same farm as the Triple Cross.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and they are so sweet, but there's
Which fruit? Cherry?
no.
Which fruit? You're talking about the Triple Cross comes from California, and
But
there's two Buck Farms. There's two places. One, there's actually a second one that now grows it too.
oh,
So
cool.
what does Buck Farms grow? Because that's the only thing I know is
And
Triple Cross.
mango tangerine or mango orange. Maybe it's called mango orange. But when you look at it and you get it in your brain, like what this is going to taste like. It's going to taste like an orange, but it's so sweet. There's no acid in it. And so, like if you're making a smoothie or something, you put a little bit of apple cider vinegar or something, and they're just a tiny bit, not to taste the vinegar, but just to boost that flavor into what you think orange should taste like. And this kind of does the same thing for cherries.
Okay, it's funny because as you guys know, I'm a citrus fiend, and I actually don't like mango tangerines, or I think they're tangerines. I buy them when they come out, and I didn't know they came from Buck Farms, and maybe Buck Farms are sweeter. They taste okay, and I'll get them just for curiosity, but usually about a half dozen is enough for me, or a dozen, something like that. They're okay, but everybody's taste profile is different, of course. Um, okay, yeah, I should play with almond extract because almond and cherries, I believe, are in the same family, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I have in my garden flowering almond, which is a beautiful plant. It's an ornamental plant.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite nice. I wanted to make a comment. Susanna's not with us anymore. She had to go. She is with us. I mean, she's just elsewhere. So there was. So I wanted to give a plug for golden kiwi. So those of you who don't like kiwi or don't like it a lot, try the golden. It's like a world of difference. I mean, I like regular green kiwis, but the goldens are amazingly good. And then I
Mhm.
wonder if either of you guys could talk about in her segment, she was freezing yogurt, and I wonder, I've not done that. Does anybody know how that would come out? If you have a frozen concoction, including yogurt, and you freeze it, what would the consistency of it be?
Um, it's really good. I mean, I do
Yeah.
frozen yogurt bars in my popsicle maker,
Hmm.
my little popsicle molds. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's very like ice cream. So,
Okay. All right. Are there any more questions from the audience? How many names do we have so far, Karen?
Well, I only have 5.
Okay.
Does that sound
So
right?
I think so. Why don't you read off the names you have?
Lee Hay, Susan Patton, Judy May. Oh, wait, I got Susan Patton again, and Bonnie McFall.
Okay.
4.
Okay, good. And by the way, Bonnie had asked a question about a website, and there's probably many great sources of dates, but I thank Carolyn for turning me on to Oasis Date, and it's amazing. I nabbed some
mhm.
really nice dates recently. They had on clearance dates in these wooden boxes, and was cheaper than without the box, and the boxes are gorgeous. So I have these
Mhm.
3 boxes now, which I'm really excited about. And all their dates are organic. I think they're all organic. They may have some that aren't,
Mhm.
and they have so many varieties. If you do, I don't want to promote a particular company, but if you do use that company, they have something like 20 or 24 varieties, and I recommend getting their sampler. There's a 6-pack sampler, and my daughter Anu and she maintains her own, and I maintain my own database. And the
Yeah.
database we've listed, because at this point we've tried them all and we've put our comments. So like there's certain ones that she likes more. My wife's easy. She likes any of the dates. And then I like other ones. So I kind of have our list. And when we order, we know which ones we want to order more of. So Oasis Date. And do you guys know if any other great, and Date Lady is another source, right? They have Bari dates, and you
Mhm.
can find Date Lady dates, I think, on Amazon. And there may be other. Do you guys know any other date sources?
The date people in California are really neat.
The date people, yeah.
They have a date farm. They're just like hippies. It's an answering machine.
Okay. With a tape
Actually, you
answering
could
machine,
buy-
I guess.
Yeah, you can buy
Maybe.
pretty good ones at Costco too. Costco has organic dates.
The
Where
jewel
my
date.
medjool dates come from Costco, so they're
But I
huge.
find, Carolyn, ever since you turned me on to Oasis Date, I find if I go to my
Right.
co-op and get organic dates, I mean, we have a great co-op, but their dates are not. So sometimes I'll buy their dates for cooking if I'm making a dessert or something, but for eating, I really
Right.
like the ones that you turned me on to.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's do the drawing unless there's any more questions. So how many, Karen, did you say we have?
4.
Okay, and would you mind reading the names again, just to make
Lee
sure, and if anybody.
Hay, Judy May, Susan Patton, and Bonnie McFall.
Okay, and Bonnie has another question. How long will the dates last? Was Bari dates? Yeah, Bari the ones that have the caramel flavor, and dates will last for, if you freeze them, they'll last for years apparently. So what we do is they won't last because you're going to eat them. But if you're going to keep them, if you're not going to finish them in a couple weeks, then it's best to keep them in the refrigerator and then bring them out, and they taste best at room temperature. Some people like them better refrigerated, but I think they taste better at room temperature. There's more flavor. So what we do, we buy, to save shipping, we buy pounds and pounds and pounds of dates, and most of it goes in our refrigerator. Keep it sealed in a sealed plastic bag, and then have a airtight container for your cupboard, and we refill that and keep that in the cupboard. And when it runs low, we go back to the refrigerator. So in the refrigerator, I think they last like 6 months, 8 months, maybe more, and frozen a couple years. So they'll last a long time. And so if you're buying it locally, I would just buy, as much as you can get through in a few weeks and then buy it again. But if you're buying in mail, then you can get more if you want to save shipping. Okay. All right, so let's do the drawing then. So Karen, what do you want to do first? Do you want to do the popsicle mold or the magazine?
Let's do the magazine.
Okay, so it's 1-year subscription to Veg News, which is a great magazine, and it's all things vegan. Colleen Holland is a friend of mine. She's the publisher, and it's a glossy, nice, very nice magazine. And it has articles on vegan fashion, vegan restaurants. Its focus isn't necessarily health, although they do have health articles, but it is all vegan. And so many of you have seen this at checkout registers, and so they're very happy to donate a year subscription to Veg News. So let me go ahead and do the drawing, and we have 4 names, right?
Right.
So I'm going to use random.org. I teach math, and I tell people it's very difficult to have a truly random number, and I won't get into why, but we have a pseudo-random number. And I'm going to do a test case. This one doesn't count. I'm going to say generate a random number from 1 to 4, and I got 3. So if this counted, who is number 3? Who would have won the magazine?
Judy May.
Okay, so Carolyn's mom. And then, so I'm going to now roll again and or do the random.org, and then whoever wins is not in the running for the second prize. Okay, so the winner of the magazine subscription Veg News is number 4. Who's number 4?
Bonnie McFall.
Bonnie, congratulations. So Bonnie, let me just comment here. If you win, so winners, please email Karen at somanycooks.com. Then she will then get you your prize because she needs your mailing address, and we don't want you to post it in public here. So thanks, Bonnie. So Bonnie, please do send a note to Karen, and she'll get you the magazine subscription. And I know, Bonnie, you've won a few things in the past. If you already have a Veg News subscription, we can extend it by a year. Okay, but I don't think you've won Veg News before. So the second prize then is the molds, the popsicle molds, and the winner of that is number 2. Who's number 2?
Oh, Judy May. Sorry. Wait. I stressed something out. I know.
You said Mrs. May is number 4.
No, she was
No,
number
3.
2. Because, okay. What number did you say?
2. I just drew 2.
Because I had Susan Patton down twice. I confused myself.
Okay.
Right. Susan Patton.
Okay, so Susan Patton is the winner. Okay, Susan, would you message us here and say, yep, I'm here, and will you please email Karen at somanycooks.com, and Karen will get you, let me just write here, congratulations to Susan, what's Susan's last name? Patton, for winning popsicle. And there's Susan and Bonnie for winning the Veg News. Okay. Yep. And so both of you have acknowledged. So please do email Karen at somanycooks.com. So looking to the next show, we haven't set a date for the kids. They have a lot of ideas, and we're just trying to come up with dates with travel and all. So it may be July 1st is one date we're talking about, but we haven't decided, and we may even move it into August. So it may end up just being one show in the summer. We don't know right now. One thing the kids are talking about is they all have a vegan Harry Potter book, and they're all excited about the Harry Potter recipes. So I don't know. To me, Harry Potter sounds more like a fall show, but we'll see what the kids want to do. Maybe they want to do it in the summer, and that would be fine. And they have some other ideas too. So, but beyond the kids, so if you haven't seen our show, the kids in the kitchen include my daughter, Anu, who's 14, Cody's 3 daughters, who are ages 6, 10, and 14. We were actually with her daughter when she turned 14 on the vegan cruise, and we celebrated her birthday with her, which was really fun. And then we have another cook in the kitchen, Ella, and Ella's daughter and son are also kids in the kitchen. They're in Rhode Island, and Cody, of course, and her family are in Nebraska, and we're in North Carolina. But our next So Many Cooks show is So Many Berries. Karen and Carolyn, do you guys know what you're making yet for that show?
I think I'll do, I don't know, I was thinking about it this morning, patriotic parfaits layered with strawberries and blueberries and some sort of vanilla cream in the middle and maybe some muesli. I don't know.
Wow.
I do it with the kids when I teach my kids cooking classes all summer long. I've got kids camp coming up at the YMCA. We have 75 children signed up right now. So starting this coming Tuesday. So everybody send me positive vibes.
I'm pretty short. Can I show up to your class, and do you think I'll blend in with the kids?
You come help, Philip. Come on and help. I got 75 children coming on Tuesday. So this coming Tuesday, we're making smoothies. But at one point, we will be making patriotic parfaits, probably the week before. I guess it'll be the week before the 4th of July or the week after. But layering, like a coconut milk yogurt and granola and strawberries and blueberries. And it's red, white, and blue when it comes out. So,
but by the way, my daughter is here, and there's a comment that was just made about her. So Anu, Bonnie McFall loves your show. The kids are darling and enjoy watching them. She made your pancakes. And the young lady, sorry? Oh, did you? You and Ava made pancakes. French toast. Okay. So who made the pancakes? Okay, Mia made them, but they weren't as round and brown as hers. Okay, cool. Yeah, the kids are great. Yeah. Hi, Colleen. Yeah, so let me go ahead and post the link. So the link is, let me post it right now. And go ahead, Karen, what are you thinking of making?
Not stuck on this. I was thinking about a trifle, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Not positive.
So our link for the recipes is tinyurl.com/so-many-cool-desserts with an S recipes. And you have a capital M, capital C, capital D, capital R. It's called camel case. So tinyurl.com/so, capital M, many, capital C, cool, capital D, desserts, capital R, recipes. Hi, Colleen. Sorry you missed the show. And you can watch the show in recording. So we're almost done. And then when we're done, I think it takes, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, or Twitter, it takes them a few minutes, but then it's available, and you can watch it recorded. You can come back to somanycooks.com/shows, and that takes a couple days because Mark actually, I think, creates a link there. Mark Cirkvenick. He's been doing a lot of travel this summer, so he's been away from the show, but he'll be back this fall, is what he hopes. And then for my thing, So Many Berries, years ago when Anu was quite young, we used to go strawberry picking at this wonderful organic strawberry patch, and Anu and I would pick slowly, but my wife is an excellent strawberry picker, and she'd come home with so many pounds of strawberries, and we did all sorts of things with the strawberries. We dehydrated them and made lollipops that my young daughter, 4-year-old daughter, really loved. We all did. I would make strawberry ice cream, freeze it. We would freeze a bunch of the strawberries to, thaw later on. And I said, I wonder if it could make a nice sauce. I did a little bit of searching, and I came up with this nice strawberry marinara sauce. Actually, it was made by this company called Fogli, which makes, there's the strawberries. Wonderful. And I love Fogli pasta. Nice. My wife got some from the farmer's market too. And so I looked at their recipe and they had a marinara with strawberries. So I knew it could be done. And I made a lot of changes and I've been fine tuning it. And so that's what I think I'm going to do next month. I'm going to make my strawberry marinara. It's really cool because you can't tell there's strawberries in it unless somebody tells you, and unless depends on how you cook it. And that's what I think I'm going to make. It's a really nice, very healthy dish and quite unique. It's a subtle and really cool taste. That's what I'm thinking of making. So many berries.
Cool.
And we don't have a topic for August or September. We want to have a topic soon. So any of you guys who have ideas, please email. You can put it on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. You can reply to this show, or you can send an email. You can email any of us with our first name at somanycooks.com. And in some cases, we have some people, for example, there's two Nancys. So if you want to send it to Nancy Manifold, it would be Nancy M. You use the first initial of the last name at somanycooks.com. But most of us have unique names among the cooks in the kitchen. So it's Karen at somanycooks.com, and it's Carolyn at somanycooks.com, and Dilip at somanycooks.com. So feel free to email us, and we'd love any ideas. Do you guys have any ideas for August? We've been at it for more than 3 years, so we've done all the obvious ones. So many summer foods. I think we've done that, and fruits, and
Maybe we should do grilled things. People grill out in the summer.
yeah.
Things you can grill that don't have to be steaks and hamburgers. An interesting idea.
Anu, did you want to share with us any ideas you're having for the next kids show? Yeah, we're talking about Harry Potter. Did you have any other ideas? Okay. So she was talking about the Harry Potter one. Okay. Yeah,
And
that's a
Dilip,
good
we need
idea.
we need to talk about our immersion too.
Immersion. Absolutely. Thank you. I was almost about to close. So last year we started doing plant-based immersions. So Carolyn and I are doing an immersion in the North Carolina mountains in August. August, 8th through 10th or something like that? That's a good idea, Bonnie.
I think it's the 10th through the 13th, 12th or 13th. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and I think so. And I'll post the link again. Do you want to talk about what the immersions are
We'll
like?
be in Asheville. We'll be in Asheville in a really big house, and we'll be doing lots of fun things like cooking every meal and going for hikes and maybe doing some yoga or some other exercise, some meditation and mindfulness.
We can make some homemade yogurt and eat homemade yogurt and do yoga. Yogurt yoga.
Sure.
Put a drop of yogurt on your head and see if you can be still so you don't drop the yogurt.
That's not how yoga works, but okay. Okay. But yeah, we'll do all kinds of fun stuff. So
join us.
Yeah,
yes, I think
how many bedrooms do we have in this house? I don't remember, but it holds like 16 or 18 people or something. It's a big house.
We have two buildings outside that also have rooms, which are really, really nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
There's two full kitchens upstairs and downstairs. So yeah. So
how many people can we have total?
I think 14 or 15.
Okay.
And so you can arrive anytime on the first day. I think it's on a Thursday, and we'll have a nice healthy snack waiting for you. So you can show up whenever, get checked in, and get a snack. And then that evening we start at 5:30, 6, something like that, and we'll be making dinner and talking. And then every night we're going to be showing films, which you can enjoy. The film I made, Code Blue, Forks Over Knives, many films, and we'll be serving you dessert while you're having your film. You can be having ice cream or you can have popcorn, you can have snacks during the movie. And then the next morning for early people, we'll have some basic dessert breakfast set out. So if you wake up at, I don't know how early people wake up, 2:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning, whatever it is, right? You can have breakfast and then at like 7 or 7:30 or 8, Carolyn will have a yoga or some stretching. And then around 9, we'll have the hot breakfast. And we'll make breakfast, and then we'll have discussions. We'll have some folks coming in on Zoom for lectures. There'll be a long break in the middle of the day to hike in the Blue Ridge or just relax, use the hot tub. So be fun 3 days or so. So please join us. bit.ly/WFPB immersion is through Rochester Lifestyle Medicine. We'd love to have you.
And I think it's August 10th, arriving August 10th and leaving August 13th.
Yeah, lots of nice, and we send you home with some nice books and all. So a lot of good learning opportunity. Talk about how we use our appliances, and you can see us cook. So it's fun. So maybe we'll try to schedule So Many Cooks so we can actually do it from there if possible. So we'll see about that.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. All right. Any last comments or questions? We really enjoyed, it was a very nice discussion today. Thanks for all the wonderful questions, and congratulations to the winners of the prizes. So stay in touch. Let us know what you'd like us to cook for you in the future shows. And I guess see you in the kids show. We'll schedule when that is. We'll post where that is. And certainly we'll be back late in July. So it's more than a month. It'll feel like 2 months, July 22nd. And that's our So Many Berries show. So enjoy berries. And we've been posting our recipes a day or two early. We always do that for the kids, but we started to do that with adults. So if you'd like, you can get the recipes, and you may not be able to keep up with doing all of them at once, but maybe pick one or two and cook with us. I think you'd enjoy that. So until next time, see you. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
So many cooks in the kitchen, so many recipes to share. So many cooks in the kitchen with meals for you to prepare. We've got fruits and grains, veggies and beans, more healthy food than you've ever seen. So many cooks in the kitchen, plant-based meals to prepare. So many cooks in the kitchen with ideas we're happy to share.